Good morning to all of you. Suddenly, I am coming from Leh. So, morning I arrived in Delhi. So, there is a completely different atmosphere from Leh to Delhi. Namaste and good morning. The way through the most complex problem of the world, the oldest dispute, the most interactable issue lies in dialogue. It is thus important for modern society to constantly engage in dialogue. And it is for this reason that I want to begin my address today by congratulating the Observer Research Foundation and the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, for organizing Raisina Dialogue year after year. Over the passage of time, Raisina Dialogue has emerged as the go-to conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics toward addressing challenging issues facing the global community. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk the most challenging issue facing us, climate change ranks right at the top. It is so because climate change poses a greater existential threat to the planet Earth and all other challenges combined. Climate change is a threat that faces the whole of mankind. It threatens the rich and the poor. It threatens the north and the south. It transcends all political and geographical boundaries, but sadly, it particularly affects the most vulnerable people who are least responsible for the crisis. I am thus pleased to be here among you all to speak on the topic, the next step for climate smart policies. In the previous edition of Raisina Dialogue, I had opportunity to interact with you all on India's climate leadership, and I am happy to note that the conversation continues into this year's edition as well, particularly with regard to India's G20 presidency. As I see it, climate smart policies act as a policy tool for a specific action for sustainable development. It is unfortunate that the world learnt about the concept of sustainability the hard way. We are now witness to how mindless consumption and unplanned development has jeopardized food and energy security across many a nation. There are developing countries that are reeling under the menace of unsustainable debt, at the same time are also victim of unsustainable consumption and production process of developed world. As we enter the third year of UN critical decade of action, with just 7 years remaining to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, drafting and ensuring execution of climate smart policies has taken center stage in India. Ladies and gentlemen, climate smart policies are a very Indian way of life. Allow me to explain how this has been done and impact it has produced. The term sustainable development may be new. However, the concept is knitted into Indian ethos. They are the Indian philosophical text which we call the Upanishad. In one of the Upanishad, it says, Isha Vasyam Vidam Sarva Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Ten Takten Bhujikta Ma Gridha Kasya Svidhadhanam. I spoke in a Sanskrit, but its meaning is, know that all things in the moving world are enveloped by the nature, creator, or almighty, or God, what we say. Therefore, find your enjoyment in renunciation. Do not covet with belongs to other. Bharatiya ethos has underlined, taken from nature, no more than you need. For nature exists to state human need, not greed. We are people who use less. We are people who reuse what we use. Circular economy is part of Indian culture. It is because Indians are pro-planet people that the nation. We are more than 17% of the world population, has contributed only 4% of global cumulative greenhouse gas emission between 1850 and 2019 against the 60% contributed by developed nations. Even today, India's per capita emissions are less than one-third of world's per capita CHG emissions. Globally, India stands fourth in terms of installed renewable energy capacity, fourth in terms of wind installed capacity, fifth in terms of installed capacity, solar installed capacity. In just the last 9 years, installed capacity of solar energy in India has increased by more than 23 times. My heart fills with pride in sharing with you that India's installed renewable energy capacity has increased 396% in the last 8.5 years. These numbers are proof of the fact that climate smart policy is the front and center of India's development paradigm. India has emerged as a global example on how development and conservation of environment can go hand in hand. As India assumed the G20 presidency, it does so leading by example. Under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, India achieved its initial NDC submitted in 2015, which were already ambitious in nature 9 years before the deadline and became the only G20 member to do so. Not only have we achieved our NDC target before deadline, but we have also submitted our updated NDC which seeks to achieve even more ambitious targets along with our long-term low emission development strategy plan at COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh. With this, India has joined the list of 58 countries who have submitted their new or updated long-term low emission development strategy plan. India's climate policy is directed towards sustainable development and poverty eradication. While striving continuously to decouple emissions from growth and achieve energy efficiency across sectors, our long-term low-emission development strategy document is premised on two major pillars of climate justice and sustainable lifestyle alongside principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. Combating climate change cuts across several verticals where a coordinated and integrated approach serves as an effective tool for a tangible change at the grassroots. India's G20 presidency on similar lines intend to bring an integrated, comprehensive, and consensus-driven approach to address climate change and pursue sustainable growth. In the recently concluded first Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting of G20 in Bengaluru, apart from priority sector topics focusing on land degradation, circular economy, and blue economy, delegates from G20 countries also deliberated on accelerating climate action, science and gaps. These discussions will play a significant role in providing valuable input towards G20 ministerial level meeting in Chennai. In keeping with India's inclusive vision of for the G20, I am happy to note that introduction of the G20 Global Research Forum, which aims to bring together stakeholders and thinkers from G20 and non-G20 countries to add new voices and ideas that would conversations around the key priorities of the G20. Let me now turn the government's continuous efforts in making climate smart policies. In 23-24, Union budget prepared by the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and presented on February 1st serves as a strong foundation for building a green India. By earmarking Saptarishi priorities area, targeted efforts have been set into motion to empower every citizen through green and sustainable growth. With its primary focus on including behavioral change, the Green Credit Program introduced in the Green Budget is being designed to help mitigate climate change, build adaptive capacity, and improve the overall state of the environment. Under the scheme, the government will incentivize companies, individuals, and local bodies to adhere to sustainable practices under the Environment Protection Act and help mobilize additional resources for such activities. Similarly, the outlays of 19,700 crore of National Hydrogen Vision will be instrumental in boosting the production of green hydrogen, which will be significant in the decarbonization pathway of the country, particularly the core sector such as refineries, coal and steel plants. The budget has made key declaration affirming the vision of lifestyle for environment, Panchamrit and net zero carbon emissions by 2070. The green growth provision outlined in the budget places the country on a steadfast path to meeting its sustainability goals. The theme of India's G20 presidency, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, One Earth, One Family, One Future, reimagines the world as a family with shared interests and a common future. It underscores the need to join effort to face challenges and create a better world order. Mission Life is a clarion call given by India's Honorable Prime Minister in the same spirit, underpinning the need to bring individual efforts at the forefront of global climate action. A one word mass movement life has been gaining wide traction, as was witnessed at the India Pavilion in Egypt at COP27. Across the globe, it also received appreciation from academic experts and political leaders who have lauded the visionary nature of the movement. Ladies and gentlemen, today, India is spearheading one of the most ambitious clean energy transition in the world. Apart from resolutely addressing climate change domestically, for the world, India has created and will continue to nurture the International Solar Alliance, which is Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's vision to bring clean and affordable energy within the reach of all and enhance international collaboration with countries abundant in solar potential. Further working on the similar lines, the Honorable Prime Minister launched Green Grid Initiative, One Sun, One World, One Grid during COP26 for availability of clean energy from a worldwide grid everywhere at all times and reducing the need for storage and increase in viability of solar projects. Initiatives like Lead IT and Coalition Resilient Infrastructure CDRI, which has been approved by an international organization by the Union Cabinet, testifies India's leadership at global stage. The initiatives show India's seriousness in making climate smart policies a global framework for policy. Ladies and gentlemen, not everything is bad about climate change. At least the term has taught us that even the best of climate, which was considered a given change if abused beyond a point. In the last decade or so, this change has become alarmingly perceptible. And I would like to remind, especially my friends from the global north, that we must understand that this crisis is starkly different from other global crises of trade and finance, and therefore traditional responses and the tendency of profiting from disaster need to be shunned. Greenwashing, abrogating historical responsibilities, and protectionism is the name of climate action need to be stopped. I have spoken at this August gathering not to impose an opinion but to kindle an aspiration. An aspiration that yes, we can collectively and give to ourselves and our future generations from Nauru to Russia, from Burundi to United States of America, a greener and cleaner world. With these words, I will like to wrap up my address with the confidence that through its G20 presidency, India will work with its partner to put forward a coherent roadmap for climate action and sustainable development, which puts the concern of global south at the center when it comes to making climate smart policies domestically and globally. Thank you for being such patient listeners. Jai Hind and Vasudev Kutumka.